Gonna be censored probably today. Gave notifications to 2 people. So censored. Grand Rising, everybody. So you have your coffee. The 2 people are on. I'm going to give it a minute to see if it sends out the notifications, but I doubt it will be. So we will see. It's okay. It can just be 3 of us if we need it be. And then I'll upload it later. Hey, everyone. I don't know if I'll be able. Oh, yeah, here we go. Now I can see the comments. Sometimes when I do it on my phone, I don't know if I can see the comments or not. But Isella McQueen, that is like a powerful name. So pretty. And I'll get started. It's probably going to censor me like crazy. Facebook has literally been deleting my post. So I am on. Yes, I am. I don't know if it's sending. Is it sending out notifications or just because I posted on Telegram and then people came over? YouTube refuses to stream my stuff live. I don't know why. Because YouTube sucks. That's why. Just like call me Facebook. I think Rumble, I do it wrong. Max, my friend who I've done shows with, has showed me how to like stream it live. I need him to show me again. I need to like write notes so I can stream it live onto Rumble. So let me give it like 1 more minute. And if not, then it's just going to be us. Now there's 4. Oh, 6 now. Okay, let's see. It's crazy. When I used to do Facebook Lives, maybe when I first started speaking out, like I would have hundreds, and then they started censoring me all over the place. Even on Telegram, I think I had posted, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted that Telegram put me in Telegram jail. Like, how do you get put in Telegram jail? It's supposed to be so stupid. Anyway, well, I guess, I'll just start and then, share, send it to whoever you want, and then I'll upload it onto my other social medias. But here's the thing. I wanted to go over 2 things and then it'll be quick this morning. I asked people if they knew what human trafficking in persons part B is. Basically, what that is when it's a couple things actually. When all of us were born, we got a birth certificate and a social security card that immediately entered us into the corporation system, which now allows them to have authority and power over us since we were children, since we were babies. And so, like, when I had kids, I didn't know about this, right? So I gave my kids a birth certificate and a social security card, and that's because that's what you're told to do, right? Good, ignorance is that's what they bank on, right? Here, do this birth certificate, do this social security card, and this is what you're gonna bank on so we can enslave your children. Okay, now fast forward, your children are babies, and some have dealt with this while their children were babies, or they might have dealt with it recently or as their kids get older. Fast forward to Child Protective Services. That birth certificate and social security gets put into a system. Child Protective Services has access to all of that. So when Child Protective Services comes out and they say, oh, someone called or whatever, usually it's because they've targeted you or targeted your family from the beginning of when your child was born. Okay, now let's fast forward to where your kids are a little bit older, or you're an adult. Fast forward, you go from Child Protective Services, which is a prison, right, to the regular jails and prison, which now are profiting off of your social security number. When you go into the courthouse, it does not matter whether they label it as criminal, as civil, as domestic. Every single case in the court system is a civil case because they are all profiting off of it. A case number is it's a CUSIP number, CUSIP, a CUSIP number. And that CUSIP number is used to traffic you through the system and to profit off of whoever they have in the system. So really there can be no criminal cases because even if they say there's a victim, there's no victim in these court cases. And I'm not, let me explain this. I am not saying that there aren't victims, okay? Understand and listen to everything I'm saying, because I'm not saying that there aren't victims that turn survivors. Not what I'm saying. I am saying within regards to the court system that we currently have, which are not Article 3 courts under the Republic. They are corporations with DUN numbers and EIN numbers. They are trafficking everybody through that system and profiting off of them, making money off of them. The jails are private jails. Why are jails private? Why? Because they are making money, millions and millions. That is why these district attorneys, that's why these assistant attorney generals railroad people into convictions, because they profit off of it. That is called human trafficking. When you are making money off of another human being, okay, and enslaving that human being, whether it be through child protective services or whether it be through the jail system or the prison system, that is called human trafficking in persons, Part B. And it is I say Part B because, and that's the way it's labeled, because there's human trafficking, right? And crimes against humanity. Now, this is human trafficking in persons, Part B. This is the second part of it. This is crimes against humanity. This should outrage everyone. You know how many people have posted on my so whatever social media it is that they have loved ones that are in jail or prison? Same thing, we're railroaded into a conviction. They're trafficking your loved ones. This is where I get so annoyed where we don't rise up, because we're literally letting these courts who have no jurisdiction over us whatsoever have authority over us, and we're not standing up to the system. And people say, oh, the power of the pen. Really, where I'm at with that is F the power of the pen, because we've tried that. And I've tried that in cases that they accused adults that were innocent, and cases where they've accused children of prostitution, and we've challenged the jurisdiction and they don't care. You know why? Because thugs don't care about your constitutional rights. Thugs that come in and steal from you and want to make money and traffic you do not care about your constitutional rights. This is what the court system is. They are thugs. This is what the prison system is. They're thugs. In fact, right now in Bexar County, it's called BEXAR, there's a whistleblower. And it's funny because I've reached out to a lot of news sources. One is talking to me. The rest, it won't touch it. Why? Because they protect their thugs, right? The news reporters have to comply with their handlers, which are these judges and district attorneys and everything else. And so they won't touch the fact that there is a whistleblower in this jail, and this whistleblower is letting families know that they are setting hits out on our loved ones because they feel like they just can. So everything we would be arrested for, these thugs do. And they're labeled as judges and district attorneys and assistant attorney generals. That is where it's like, this is human trafficking in person, Part B. If you don't know, go study what that looks like. Go study what human trafficking in person, Part B is, because all of us, unless you've removed yourself out of the system, is being trafficked. And if you are not, then you probably have a loved one or someone that you really care about that's being trafficked through the system. Why do we have private jails? Listen, in an Article 3 court, which is what it should be in our republic, an Article 3 court is where if you committed a crime, what you're accused of, whatever type crime, is you have a jury of your peers. That means a jury of people that know you, a jury of people that will judge on your character and the things that you have done in life and can say, yes, absolutely, this person's guilty, or no, it's not. You also have to sign what's called a juror covenant, stating that you are going to abide by the Constitution. Right now, you have, again, a bunch of jurors that are clowns in the kangaroo court, okay, with the head clown, the judge, and then the other head clown, the district attorney. And then it's, I guess maybe they're not clowns, they're the puppets from the puppet master, is what's happening here. And so this is where people need to start getting outraged, because these courts have no authority over us. And I find it so hilarious that people always say about me when they're trying to assassinate my character is that, oh, well, she was in jail and she had a warrant out for her arrest. Yeah, you're right. If I would have known what I've knew back then, I would have come on here and said, yeah, they put a warrant out for my arrest, which means what? They waged war, a warrant, war. They waged war on you personally. That's what that means. That means that these thugs and these traffickers and these pedophiles have personally waged war on you, and they're coming for you. So I don't care who has a warrant. That means they've waged war on you, and you better get ready, because that war, you're going to walk onto a battlefield that you're not prepared for, because they speak legalese and everything else. Now, let's talk about Ken Paxton, who everyone, well, not everyone, but so many are so hard up for this guy and think he's on our side when he's not. Ken Paxton is just as much as a tool as, oh my gosh, I'm having a blonde moment, the California governor. Well, let's go with Jared Polis, because I lived in Colorado and he's just as much as Jared Polis is kind of, if you haven't watched the Great American Rocky Heist, you should, or the Great Rocky Heist, you should go watch it. But anyway, Ken Paxton has his thugs of assistant attorney generals that come in as special prosecutors, and they will file motions stating that no one has rights, and that if there is a supposed victim, which there can be no victim, right? Because you're straw man, like everything in the court, right, is through your birth certificate. It's your all caps name, which is what is your straw man, your all caps name. They are trafficking that birth certificate, which has multiple bonds on it from when you were born. They're trafficking that, right? That's what they're profiting off of. So when you go into a court, you are a living man or a living woman. You are not the straw man, the all caps name of what they're trafficking. Okay. So fast forward to Ken Paxton, who won. Okay, listen, he's been in all over the news for fraud and all this other stuff, right? And it's like, oh no, the deep state's coming for him. No, guys, the deep state's coming for you. And so is Ken Paxton. And Ken Paxton and his assistant attorney generals, and I'll name their names because they should, and I'm going to start putting these addresses out there, because you know what? Normally, I don't believe in doxing people, but when you're a thug and you hurt my family members or hurt your family members or hurt our children, and you think you have authority over us, it's time for us, the resistance, to rise and start going to these thugs' houses and start protesting out of their houses. No justice, no freaking peace. That's where we're at this point in time. And so Ken Paxton, Aurora, Rory, Selena Perez, okay, Matthew Ottawa, and Matthew Shaman have put in motions that in different cases that the impact on a victim outweighs the defendant's rights. Now, I want to explain what that means to all of you. Let's just say that Donna, I'm sorry, I saw your name, that you're the last person that quoted. So Donna's on here, right? Say Donna and I are friends, okay? And I go and accuse Donna of some outrageous crime, right? And then I say, I'm the victim, right? And then there's like literally the prosecutor's like, listen, let me look at Donna's birth certificate and see how much she's worth. Okay, well, Donna's worth all of this money where we can get bonds on. Boom. Her rights are completely stripped of her, and she has no rights. She can't have, even under their due process, right? She has no rights. She's going to get railroaded into a conviction. It doesn't matter. They're going to ensure that she goes to prison for whatever I accused her for, because there's no rights here. Think about that. Okay. Now, I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, you've accused all of these people. First of all, I've never been sued. Okay. I have receipts for everything I say. And I don't ever accuse people that didn't do anything to me. Just like when I talk about Joel Osteen, right? I talk about that. And I say, here is the story. Okay. I am not going after people that are innocent. And I am not going after, I hate to use the word civilians, because we're all humans, we're not civilians, but in their codes is their civilians. And I'm not going after those people. I'm going after the pedophiles and traffickers, which are these judges and district attorneys and assistant attorney generals. So let me ask all of you that love Ken Paxton and think that he's so amazing, that he's putting in motions that defendants have no rights whatsoever. You don't have a right to counsel in their statutes and codes. You don't have a right to prepare for trial in their statutes and codes. Let me ask you guys, this is a thug, okay? They don't care about your constitutional rights. You know, Aurora Rory Selena Perez talks about how she just had a daughter, right? She's talking about all of that. Okay, you've had a daughter. What happens when the resistance comes after her and then like, you know what I mean? And I'm not threatening her. I'm not threatening, whatever, but it's like this is the person you are for your daughter. Like, you're sick. You're putting innocent people away in jails and prisons. And now Ken Paxton is associated with the Bexar County Jail, and that Bexar County Jail are killing people. Go look it up. Google it. It's Bexar. Google Bexar County. It's called Bexar. Called Beck. It's VE is Bear. Sounds like Bexar, right? Go Google it and see how many deaths have been in that jail. It's ridiculous. And again, you know why they're killing people in that jail? They're killing people because people like Ken Paxton and his thugs of assistant attorney generals, because Paxton is a thug too. And just so everyone knows, his name is Warren Kenneth Paxton. He doesn't even go by his real name because thugs like to hide, right? So go do some research and you'll see his name is Warren Kenneth Paxton Jr. His name is not even Ken Paxton. Like, I mean, it's his middle name, and I get people go by their middle name, but if you're supposedly the attorney general, shouldn't you be like transparent with the public that supposedly voted you in, which he wasn't voted in. He was selected, not elected like the rest of them. So this is what I'm talking about. They are in bed with these jails making money. Go you can do it for 99 cents. Go on like Intellis or whatever and do it for 7 days. Do like for free for 7 days and go like type in these assistant attorney generals and everyone else. See how much property they own all over, how much money that they're worth. And then you look at their salaries. There's no way that on their salaries that they would have that much property all across the US, not just in like, same with Jared Polis, Ken Paxton, like all of these people. And I know Jared Polis is a governor and Ken Paxton is not, but just kind of do like comparing, right? Of like people in government. Go see how many that how much property they have. That's human trafficking in person part B, because they're profiting off of your straw man and then locking you up and enslaving you into the system, into jail, into the prisons and everything else. And then like they want you to be broke, right? So you try to go hire a lawyer. A lawyer takes, 20,000, and you got to go hire an appellate lawyer who takes another 20, 30,000. Like, it makes it impossible for anyone to fight the system. And if you fight the system and you know the true laws of the land, they don't care because they're thugs. So they don't care. You know what I mean? So like, this is where I've asked, like, where are the digital soldiers? Let's start calling. Listen, you don't have to go protest. I know so many people are like, oh, well, the January 6th and blah, blah, blah. Well, that was just a misinformation campaign for everyone to fear and not rise up, right? That's kind of what that was. So if you're afraid to go stand outside their homes and whatever, start calling their personal cell phones. Start calling their cell phones and their work phones and their emails and continuing to just go at them and say, you are not our government, step down. No justice, no peace. That's where we're at. It's time for a true revolution. And I know people have gotten mad at me because I have said these prisons need to be closed down. They absolutely do. When we do arrest for these traffickers, guess what? It is the right way to do things under the Constitution, and jails, no one's profiting off of these traffickers and anything else. So, and 90% of the people in jail are innocent. Yes, there is probably 10%, 100, and I am not discounting that there are victims and that there are people that are guilty in the jail system. I'm not discounting that whatsoever, but I am telling you the ratio of innocent to guilty is vastly different. And so you're thinking about 90% of jails across America that are profiting off of our loved ones and profiting off of putting these people into jails and prison. Think about Child Protective Services. They're profiting off of those children once they remove them from the home, and then they actually do start trafficking them through a trafficking ring. This is where people really need to realize that every one of you that have watched me and followed me, you are enslaved right now. You are being trafficked. You are a victim of human trafficking. You're being trafficked, and it's called human trafficking in person part B. And you should be really pissed off about that because they are profiting. And I'm sure some of you that are struggling to pay your rent, your mortgage, your car, your insurance, put food on the table, all of that is being stolen from you because you're being trafficked. And so it's puts you into a state of fight or flight, right? That's how they've done all of us is fight or flight. And that's where you're at. So you can't even think about standing up to the system because you know what? We're comfortable in the slavery that we're in. And so until you get uncomfortable in that and realize and start really getting upset about what's going on here, then change can happen. But I'm going to tell you right now, even Donna said on here, there's been 13 deaths in that jail. And really, I believe that has just been in this past year. There's also been a recent death in that jail that they're covering up and they won't let the media know because they don't want anyone to know that there's been another death. They don't want anyone to know that they're killing people. They don't want anyone to know that there are vigilante officers in there that are setting up inmates to die. I mean, to be murdered. Like that is crazy to me. You know what I mean? So think about you go in there innocent, then you're trying to fight on appeals and do everything you can to get out of there. And instead of getting out of there, right? Because Ken Paxton and Aurora Selena Perez goes by Rory. I mean, she's such trash. And Matthew Ottawa, who's like 12, and Matthew Shaman, who worked for Ken Paxton. Well, guess what? Those thugs don't want you to know that they railroaded innocent people into a conviction. So what do? Is they work with the jail and they put hits out on these inmates and then they say, oh, this is how they set it up. They say that they'll tell the families, oh, the inmate didn't want to call you or the inmate had mental health issues, and all while they're locking down that inmate. Okay. And locking down that inmate, not allowing that inmate to call the family, right? They're locking them down for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, for days and days on end. They can't shower. They can't call their family. And so what the jail does is they set them up and they say, hey, there is, your loved one has mental health issues, and you're like, no they don't, no they don't, you're letting them. And this is what the whistleblower, just so you guys know, a whistleblower is telling families this, right, of the Bexar County Jail. Like this is what's how crazy it is that they're setting them up, and then what they'll do is say, oh well, he suicided him. Come on guys, like, or him or her, whoever it is, right? Like they're saying that they are suiciding, that they suicided themselves because they couldn't handle the jail or the prison or whatever. So now it's gone to human trafficking in person part B to murder. And that's Ken Paxton, folks. And that is his jails. And he is not for you. And none of these governors that are under the corporation care about you. Please start going studying history because America was founded on a republic and these courts have no authority, and our loved ones and everyone else are being locked up. They are being imprisoned. There are hits being put out on them. It's, you know, the only way for us to save the ones in those jails that they're murdering. Because think about in this jail, the 13 deaths, probably out of those 13 were guilty. That's crazy. So 12 innocent people died because the jail thought it was in their power, something that we would literally get arrested for being vigilantes and going just killing people. Like we would be arrested for. But no, hey, guess what? It's Ken Paxton and everyone loves Ken Paxton. And they say, oh, well, the deep state's coming after him and whatever. No, the deep state's coming for you. Ken Paxton is it. There is no more Republican Democrat. There's no more of that. It is us literally against them. Okay. Susie on here, we have a family member in a similar situation. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know Susie's story. I'd love to talk to you about it, because this is how you start getting loud about it and telling the stories, right? There's probably a hit on Susie's family member right now. And what? We're all just going to sit around and know that there's there and Susie, I don't know if that's the truth or not. I'm assuming everyone. So she just posted in the comment, and I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, but you posted in the comment. But what if there was? You know what I mean? How many more innocent people need to die? Okay, I've seen a lot too much death over the past couple years rescuing these kids, and unfortunately in my job this translates into where we're at now with the jails and prison system. Okay, and I'm going to talk about something else. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to talk about it, and then I'll let everyone go. In a case, right, that Ken Paxton's office had, there was a child, okay, and the child accused someone of sexual assault, okay. But then when you start looking into and investigating that, right? And this has happened over the course of when I have rescued kids, and when I have, like, you have to look at every single thing, because you got to make sure that you are not putting innocent people in a hole, right? That's where it's at. And so this mom, okay, of the child, when you go look at it, the mom dated men one after the other, right? Okay, and fine, you want to be a hoe, go ahead, none of my business. Go do what you need to do. But when you're bringing it around your kids, that's a problem, okay? And she would date these guys, and then when they were all guys that were had good jobs, right? And so all sorry, my kids are like talking, and then I was trying to make sure they weren't fighting. So anyway, so now I lost my train of thought because my kids. No, all right, go back here. So anyway, this mom has dated a bunch of kids, or not kids. She hasn't dated kids. I'm sorry. She dated a bunch of men. The men were well off or had good jobs and making good money. She would basically tell the guys, "I want this, this, and this," and the guys would be like, "No, I'm not getting that for you." And so the guys would break up, right? Because there are good men. Okay, don't get me wrong. People think like I hate men, and I don't. There's some really good men, and unfortunately, there are women like her that go and prey on those types of good men that just, are working hard, and like they might be out there dating, whatever. Like that doesn't make them bad guys, right? They're just dating, trying to find their person. Fine. She would shake them down and say, "Give me money or give me these things," after they tried to leave, "or I'm going to have my daughter accuse you of sexual assault." Two men paid her out. Another man said, "No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to pay you out. I'm going to walk away. That's crazy. Like I didn't do anything, and not going to happen." Right. That is where we're at right now with one of Ken Paxton and Aurora Selena Perez. Aurora Selena Perez withheld this evidence from the jury. There's also supposedly, which I haven't heard it yet, but I'm hoping to soon, that there is a recording of the child saying that her mom made her lie. This is where I'm saying, like, there are instances where the mom is the abuser. The mom is abusing this child by telling this child to lie about these men, right? And then these men are losing their lives and their freedom because Ken Paxton and his assistant attorney generals are going to profit off of that person. No one protected the child in this case. No one. They protected their asset, which is really the trafficking, the man that they accused, who isn't innocent. And our team looked into it. I want you to know, we researched it and went deep into this case, and it is clear the mom is the abuser. The mom has also accused multiple men of domestic violence. She's accused multiple men of sexual assault. So has the child. I mean, the child has a lot of issues, and it seems, and here's the thing too, the mom, okay, and her name, and I'm going to say, I don't care. Her name is Teresa Cooper, and she went by Teresa Galarza. It's like Galzra or something like that. I'd have to go back and look at it. But basically, this woman, 2 months after supposedly her daughter was assaulted, gets married to someone she doesn't even know. Now, let me ask all of you, if your child supposedly was sexually assaulted and by multiple men, which because there were multiple cases open at this time, okay? If your child was assaulted by multiple men, you're not going and marrying someone 2 months later that you don't know. How do you know after 2 months if that's not a sexual predator or not? You don't know that. So this is what I'm talking about in these instances where there are innocent men that have been accused of this or innocent women. That is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous game. One, for the child, because the child has no one protecting her against the mother, who is the abuser. Okay. And then the men and women that are accused of such a heinous crime. And unfortunately, depending on, where you're at, and you're automatically, they're just going to say, okay, well, you're guilty because you have people like Ken Paxton and Aurora Selena Perez and Matthew Ottawa that won't let you have a defense, and so they will traffic you through the system. This is where I'm saying, guys, like the games that are being played and perpetrated on us, we the people, is dangerous. And there is men and women sitting in that Bear County jail because of this Teresa woman who lied, and there's hits out now on those men and women because of her. So where do we get to the point where we say enough's enough? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not protecting any abuser, right? But there are times where, again, you have to look at all the facts and you got to see where the abuser is. And in this instance, the abuser is the mom. And I don't say that lightly, because when we rescue kids and everything else, our goal is to put those children back with their mom and with their dad or with their family, because that's the best place for them. In this instance, that child or her children need to be removed from her immediately and with another family member, because she is setting up that child. Think about it. The child is bragging that she put someone in prison by a lie, and this child is 16. Think about that. Okay, that right there, the abuse of what is going to happen, and what's happening right now is that mom has groomed the child and grooming the child to grow up to be a perpetrator just like the mom. Again, this is human trafficking in person, part B, and there are different types of human trafficking. This mom is trafficking her daughter through the system and making her go to different courts and different police and different states, mind you, okay, in California, in Texas, going through these different states, moving to these different states and seeing what will stick. That is a perpetrator. You are going to different states accusing different men of the same exact, to the T, the same exact thing, right? So if that were like these, say if these, just for the sake of argument, that all these men did that, then that means that the mom is trafficking the daughter, right? Regardless, this mom is an abuser and a perpetrator, and I am so sick of like these people getting away with harming children. And I am sick of innocent people sitting in jails and prison because of these freaking abusers. So listen, take what you want out of this, but all of us, if you have a birth certificate and social, it's called human trafficking in person, part B. If you have a loved one that is in the jail or prisons, they're being trafficked. And that should enrage you, because the one thing I know is the feeling of being enslaved. And I don't believe that any innocent person, right, should be in jail or prison or anything like that, especially based on a mom and her having her child lie. So take what you want out of it, and I pray that you guys share this and receive it, because listen, I, I hate to say that kids are liars, because they're not. Kids are manipulated, right? Kids are manipulated into doing and saying what parents have them do, or maybe some other adult, right? That, and not all kids, I'm just saying, when there's a situation like this, it is because the mom or dad or whoever, right? Depending on the adult in the situation, is manipulating that child into and grooming them into being something that they aren't. Children don't know how to lie. Children don't know how to manipulate. Children are born innocent, right? They learn different behaviors from the parents parents that they are around, whatever those parents are, grandparents, regular parents, aunts, uncles, whatever the parent like figure is in their home is what they're going to learn. This child that lied didn't learn that. She was told to do that, right? And if she didn't, there was probably some type of abuse from the mom because the mom is the abuser, right? So really, when you look at cases like this, you got to look at the one who's controlling the child and manipulating the child and then going after that person, going after that person, right? So this is where we're at in this situation. I mean, and like Ken Paxton, all of these assistant attorney generals, all these governors, none of them are on your side, right? They all hate you. They're all trafficking you. They're all part of the corporation. And I just pray that everyone wakes up and comes together because our loved ones are dying and there's innocent people that are dying through child protective services. They're dying through the jails and prison system. And I just pray that you guys rise up because it's almost too late and it's really starting to get sad. So, and pray for this child because, you know, that the truth comes out within regards to the mom. So the child, there's other children in this home, but there's one child, and this happens usually in abusive, well, I've seen with abusive moms and dads is they will target like one child and then that child becomes like their, either they're abusing them or doing something to the one child and then the other children get left alone. So there are other children in this home where like pray that the truth comes out and that these children can be taken away from the mom because the mom is definitely the abuser. And you know, I'm an advocate for the children, all children. I don't care what the circumstances is, but I secondly am also an advocate for the innocent. And if you're accusing someone who's innocent, then I am going to go to hell and high waters as much as I can to break them free of that captivity, especially in a jail or a prison, because I know what it's like to be locked up in one of those. And, you know, thank God, God restored me. But, you know, people don't get to go accuse people of heinous crimes and then walk free and think that it's just going to be okay. They don't get to go and abuse their children and have their children learn how to abuse others because that's what they learned growing up. They either get help or they can go get locked in a jail cell. So listen, I'm a freedom fighter for the kids and for the innocent, and I always will be. And this mom, she's a piece of shit, she's a liar, and she's an abuser. And you know, let her come for me because I would love to go into a courtroom with her and I would love to pull out all of her lies, just to help the innocent. And then I would also like to help that daughter of hers to break free from her because that daughter's in captivity and doesn't even know it at this point in time. So I love all of you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you had your coffee because I had mine. And just listen, today is Black Friday. My main thing is say no to consumerism because you don't need it. Go hug your loved ones and eat, you know, whatever you made yesterday, eat extra and just kind of hang out with your loved ones. You don't need to be going to the shops. No one needs it, right? Anyway, I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I get so censored, but it's okay. And do me a favor, you know, share this because I want people to know what human trafficking in person part B is. And I want people to know that Ken Paxton's a piece of crap. And so are his assistant attorney generals. So they put hits out on innocent people. Let that be the last thing you hear. And that next person that they're going to put a hit on is either going to be you or me if we don't rise up. Love you guys.